Hello everyone, good morning. Welcome to Cricbuzz Live. Today is a big day, the two semi-finals. Last game when Afghanistan won, Rashid said that he wants to thank Brian Lara because he was the only one who predicted that they're going to go through to the semis. And today, the first semi-final, Afghanistan take on South Africa at the Brian Lara Stadium. Sport sure knows how to write great scripts. And today I've got two heroes with me in the stadium. Not in the stadium, in the studio, who've written some great scripts for themselves in the stadium. Welcome, gentlemen. Zach, Michael, good morning. How are you all doing today?
I'm great. Yeah, can I just say that I think Rashid Khan should have thanked all of us for not predicting them. Because if we'd have all predicted them, they'd have been under too much pressure.
But
so
Michael,
I think by not predicting them, we've kind of let them get under the radar.
I mean, my prediction doesn't matter, but I had predicted that they're going to go to the semis and I just was rooting for them even in the ODI World Cup.
Rashid didn't give you a mention.
That's all right. I don't want to be mentioned amongst the greats. I'm just one of the many who just have liked what they've done all through since 2004. But did you all expect this? The first semi-final, South Africa versus Afghanistan.
Well, now when Afghanistan is playing, you are not expecting them to lose every game. You know, that's something which they've earned for themselves. They've been making that mark for a while now. A lot of players we've been talking about playing in different franchise leagues, having that kind of exposure, showing that kind of maturity, and the fight. Rashid is someone who was the first guy who got those opportunities along with Nabi. And then since then, they've been great motivators to all the other guys as well, you know, in terms of inspiring them to take up the game, inspiring them to keep on believing in themselves. I think, you know, that's what we are seeing right now in this tournament, that the first game they played against a big team, which was New Zealand, they managed to win that one. And since then, after the 50-over World Cup only, I think, you know, the game they played against Australia must have given them a lot of confidence, even though they've not finished on the right side of the result. They still have controlled that game, and knowing that, like, if conditions are a little bit in their favor, which is on the slower side, you know, the pitches are turning a little bit, they always believe they can beat any team.
Well, Michael, it's uncharted territory for them, semi-finals, knockouts. We are seeing the raw emotions they're playing with. But on the other hand, South Africa, they have a history of semi-finals. I don't mean to be mean to you, but just a little bit like the England football team. They go to the semi-finals, we know what happens. Why is it that the pressure of all these generations come on the current team?
Yeah, I mean, England did get to the Euro final the last time around, but we lost on penalties, so there's an omen for South Africa. I honestly don't know why history should affect the present day. You know, you look at the South Africa team, and you look at those numbers there on the screen, and the amount of semi-finals that they've lost, not managed to get to the final. You know, they've got a quality team, and as I said, I just don't understand. I guess psyche of sports, because we're speaking about it, and all the pundits around the world, and I guess all the supporters around the world, and all the South African supporters in particular will be nervous because it's another semi-final. But this present-day set of players shouldn't be affected. You know, they've got a captain in Aiden Markram who's very cool, he's very smart, clever, and they've got a very powerful batting lineup, and they've got a bowling attack that's got great variations. So they should be very confident. It's just, I think throughout the whole World Cup, they've won every game. But I would say in probably 4 of those games, we've all been on the edge of our seat because they've been doing things that, I mean, the bowling performance against England, they got over the line against England, but I mean, Zach, that wasn't a great bowling performance down the back end with all those full tosses. They just kind of read that situation wrong, so that got us all nervous. Are they panicking once again? But they won. The chase against the West Indies, you know, again they had that little moment chasing that total there. You know, Tristan Stubbs playing that shot, getting caught on the boundary. Luckily, Janssen held his nerve and got them over that, but they won. Now, is this the year that, in the World Cup, that South Africa have suddenly found that way of winning tight games? I'm pretty sure the next 2 games, if they get to 2 games, I don't think they're going to be strolling the games because you're in the semi-finals and potentially the final. So I think they're going to have to show that kind of that nerve once again. So I'm intrigued with South Africa. They intrigue me because on paper, when you look at them, they are a brilliant cricket side. But can they cope with this pressure?
Zach, I want to get to this, the C word, not the other C word, but the close wins that South Africa have been having. But before we get to that, just a little update. Afghanistan have won the toss and they will be batting first. So South Africa haven't gotten off to the best start with the toss there. But like Michael was saying, close wins we saw against England, even the game against Nepal. It was a game that they should have won comfortably, but they took it to the edge. They got us all biting our nails, but they've gone past that finish line and they've managed to convert the close games into wins.
Yeah, so far we've not seen that consistency from their batting lineup. You know, all these games, they became close games because their batting has not fired. Maybe Quinton de Kock's that one inning which comes to my mind where everything looked good for South Africa, where they started well. But other than that, I think on many occasions that middle order has not been firing. You know, that is something which has been a concern. But I keep saying, like, you know, in a tournament like this, if you're falling on the right side of the result and keep doing that, they've not lost a single game in the tournament so far. So imagine the kind of confidence they'll have in tough situations. You know, you suddenly build that belief, no matter what, something is going to happen and we will win the game. You know, that's how the tournament has been for them. I think that kind of approach will certainly help them. But the history suggests otherwise. So, you know, that pressure is always going to be there in a big game. When you get to that crunch moment, that is the time to fight those demons. You know, and it happens with everyone. You know, whether you have the history backing you or not. Like Michael was saying, it's the present day, and these individuals, whether they're going to think like that, or they're going to look at the past, or they're going to say that, okay, here is the day. This tournament have been really good for us in terms of finding ways of closing games and winning matches. So if they're thinking like that, then it's just another day.
Well, Michael, you know, the pressure I was feeling this morning because I said I haven't had too much sleep, but I'm just here in the studio not representing a nation. Rashid Khan said the same thing at the toss. Their flight was delayed by 4 hours. So he said we haven't gotten too much sleep, but even if it's just 1 hour of sleep, we have to be at our best. So clearly they haven't gotten that rest. We were talking about it in the green room.
Yeah.
Just the turnaround time has been so little.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. I think the ICC, you've got to point the finger at them. The tournament's been going on a while. In the group stages at the start of the tournament, there was teams that had 4 or 5 days break. You then suddenly get to the crunch, the time when the players need a bit of preparation, and they earn the right to get that preparation. And now I'm Rashid conscious, but they had a 4-hour delay travelling to a World Cup semi-final. You go to the next game, England versus India in Guyana. You know, they then have to travel the next day to Barbados. We know that travelling the Caribbean can be a little bit sporadic. They get to Barbados, probably won't have a chance to practice, then they're playing at 10:30 on Saturday morning. Why they've not played the final on the Sunday to at least give the semi-final winners from Guyana at least one day to settle into Barbados, maybe practice, maybe just say hello to the ground.
Yes.
Hello, this is the ground, we're going to play a World Cup final. I just think sometimes you look at the administration side of cricket and it really does concern me that you're just not giving... This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Afghanistan. They've had a 4-hour delay and they've had an hour and a half kip, and there you go, you're playing in a semi-final. They'll be up for it, and they won't make that as an excuse because they've got great mentality and a really strong attitude in the Afghanistan team. But I do feel for players in these kind of situations where we've had this long tournament and then suddenly you get to the semi-final, final. It's like, oh, just get it done.
Yes.
Quickly, just play the games. I think it's a little bit bonkers.
Well, let's have a look at Afghanistan's playing 11. They have gone unchanged. The good news there is that Gurbaz's hamstring has gotten all right very quickly. That's good news, Zach. But on a serious note, also Gurbaz, we saw him limping a little bit. So they need him up there at the top order. So that's good news as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, their batting is totally dependent on the kind of start they get. Both him and Ibrahim Zadran is someone going to be very, very crucial for today. They've won the toss. They're batting first. So obviously, they want to approach the game that way, isn't it? They don't want to feel the pressure of losing maybe the early wicket and then feeling the run chase is going to be a tricky one. Here, they can express themselves freely. You've seen in the previous game also, the plan was very clear. I think they were a little too overcautious.
Yes.
Is what the feeling you got. At times, a little tentative. but they also know it that if they get runs on board, they can put any team under pressure because their strength have been bowling.
Yes.
And that's the way they want to approach the game with. I think you will see that freedom at the start today is what I'm expecting from them. Now, what's going to matter for Afghanistan is that when that crunch moment comes, how they're going to deal with that.
Yes.
Those emotions are going to run high. How you're going to manage that is something which we'll have to wait and see. But if they're able to just come out there and enjoy this occasion, then that's the best thing they can do to help themselves.
Well, we'll see what Jonathan Todd said, something to answer the question of the nerves and the tension. He said just a little bit of a narrow experience. I'm not sure if it's a little bit of nerves, but heck, we're in the semi-finals now. Nothing to lose, but by no means do we feel like we're going into the semi-finals just to compete. We are there to win the semi-final. We've beaten some major teams. So we saw those nerves, but clearly he's come out and said that they're not here just to be there. They clearly are going for the win, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And so they should be thinking like that. They've beaten Australia. They just held the nerves against Bangladesh, which is probably their biggest game because everyone expects it. When your expectations are that everyone expects you to win and you're playing a Bangladesh team that are quite dangerous, I think we all felt the nerves of Afghanistan. But they held the nerve and got over the line, whether it was because of Gurbaz's obviously terrible hamstring tear. Who knows? But they've got through to the semi-final because they thoroughly deserved it. And I think if they'd have lost to Bangladesh, it would almost have been, and Australia had snuck through to the semi-final. I think that would have been unjust in terms of the way that Afghanistan had played throughout the whole tournament. Batting first is a key for this team. That opening partnership has been crucial. 300 run stands in the tournament. I think they'll require that again today. Not maybe 100, but I think that opening partnership. And I guess a little bit of, you're looking at the balance of probabilities and that opening partnership's yet to really fail badly. Yes. Could it fail in a semi-final where they need them to succeed more than ever? But if they can get the 130, 140, and I don't think they're a 180 team. I think if they get to 130, 140, that bowling attack is as good as anything in the tournament. The one thing I'll say, this bowling attack, bowling someone like Heinrich Klaasen, is different. You look at the way that teams have bowled to Heinrich Klaasen, they've bounced him. They've gone really aggressive, gone pretty much above the shoulder. Have Afghanistan got that kind of bowler that can put Heinrich Klaasen under a huge amount of pressure because he hits spin as well as anybody in the world. So I do think that matchup of this attack against Heinrich Klaasen is going to be crucial today.
Well, we'll look at South Africa's playing 11. They have gone unchanged as well. The big question and debate there, Zach, was whether they're going to get Reza Hendricks or back him or not. But clearly they've gone ahead with him. Rob Walters said that he's a great player and they completely believe in him. Yeah,
so far I think that that batting lineup on paper is covering all the bases, isn't it? You have a lot of power in the middle order. And you have aggression of Quinton de Kock at the top. Reza Hendrick also is someone who prefers to take the aggressive option more often than not. So it's looking really good. What they've tactically made the changes right throughout the tournament is either bringing in Shamsi or Bartman. Those are the changes which we've been seeing on the bowling side tactically. Other than that, I think they've just been backing this batting lineup. What helps is that you've been winning games. So you can just feel that you can continue with the same combination, and that is where South Africa stands. I think it's about the batting lineup firing. I think they've still not played their best cricket in the tournament, but they've managed to have this series of wins. And they're in the semi-finals. So what more do you expect?
The funny thing about South Africa, I think because they haven't won the toss and elected to field, I think they'll be absolutely fine. I think South Africa are a good chasing team and they do historically like to chase the game with the bat in hand. But you won't want to win the toss and do it against Afghanistan because of just the pressure of what they can bring. But I think now they've not won the toss and they are in the field, I think in a funny kind of way that's going to help South Africa. Because I think they're doing what they like doing, but they've not actually made that decision to do it. Yes. I think psychologically that's a big moment for the South African team because, as I said, they do like that way of playing the game. But against Afghanistan, I mean, you look at what Australia did, they did the same. Won the toss, decided to bowl first. Look what happened to them. But if you're doing it unnaturally because you've lost the toss. I think that's quite a good way about going about business.
Well, Zach, Michael, I want to talk about the man of the moment. He's been the big superstar for Afghanistan, Rashid Khan. I want to talk about him on our Naukri career score and what he's done for Afghanistan all through the World Cup. Naukri.com, India's #1 job portal, knows all about growing careers, and they've used their expertise and come up with interesting ways of looking at cricket careers. Zach, we know how Naukri always comes up with very interesting stats. This one here, Rashid, #2 on the list of top spinners in this World Cup, a World Cup that has been dominated by the seamers. So good to see him up there doing what he does best for Afghanistan.
Well, he's a match winner and a leader, a good inspirational leader. Is someone you can associate him with, and he's got that ability of not just with the ball, with the bat as well. If you look at his contribution, his consistency, especially with the ball, he's proven himself in all the conditions. I don't think there is any country which he's visited where he felt under pressure, or any batting lineup where he's felt under pressure. In fact, whenever he's part of any squad, the team which he's playing against will always look at having a clear-cut plan with regard to Rashid, isn't it? Like, either to be just not giving him wickets or not being so aggressive. So that shows the kind of strength which he's shown in his career so far. Was struggling with the back surgery, so maybe that dip in form prior to that surgery and post that, which is expected.
Yeah.
So that is the only thing with him. Other than that, now he's again hitting those straps very well. The rhythm is back. His contribution in this tournament, when it matters,
yes,
have been phenomenal. Even in the last game, taking 4 wickets and scoring those 19 runs in a low-scoring match. Shows the kind of contribution he's been making for his team.
You spoke about playing under pressure and when it's needed. On our situational performance in our Naukri career score, Rashid sits there at #2. Michael, he is a man of the big day. He performs when the pressure is on him, and he does it so well all the time. Clearly, that's been the X factor for Afghanistan, Rashid performing under pressure.
Yeah, I mean, you see what he did against India, against Australia, and obviously in the last game against Bangladesh, those 4 wickets. He's got a wicket with his first ball a number of times as well, so he kind of always gets into the game. I think clearly he's a wonderful bowler. He's been a wonderful bowler, probably the best T20 bowler across the last 10 years, across all the different leagues. He's always pretty much the #1 pick. But I think he brings more than just bowling.
Yes.
I think we saw his 19 off 10. Those 3 sixes were pretty much a changing moment in the game. He's done that regularly. I've always looked, and we talked about him in the 50-over World Cup. Why doesn't bat a little bit higher?
Yes.
Because he always seems to cause a bit of chaos.
Maybe tonight.
Yeah, just to float, to just get him up there to cause a bit of chaos. He's got that helicopter shot, those shots over the offside. But not only that now, and it's only just been recent that we've seen it, he's a very good captain. I think in St. Vincent the other evening, I don't think there was one Afghanistani, either player, support staff, or supporter in the ground, and the millions watching back home, that was not panicking. The only person that I looked on that field that looked calm was Rashid Khan.
Yes.
And I just think to have that ability as a leader to stay cool and calm under pressure. He was on the boundary fielding. That's where he fields, so he doesn't get in close to the bowlers. He's kind of waving his arm around from long off. He had Dwayne Bravo behind him. He looked like he was panicking, but I just think Rashid Khan's got that really nice aura about him as a captain. Very calm, very controlled, very considered, and clearly he's got brilliant skill sets in his own game, but also with his team, and fundamentally trusts his team.
Yes.
And that's, again, a real strength in a leader, what you can trust your team to go and perform and play. He's up there. If you said, let's pick the best T20 players in the history of the game, you'd be doing your service not right if you're not talking about Rashid Khan in the top 5.
Absolutely, because when Rashid plays, we see him up in the win contribution list as well. He's high up there because when Rashid performs, Afghanistan go on to win. So if they do want to create history, they will want Rashid Khan to go up and up on that Naukri career score because, like I said, when Rashid performs, Afghanistan wins. But someone who's wanting to derail Afghanistan, Zach, and we've seen him all through the World Cup, a completely different bowler who came out of injury. We saw him in the IPL, not very much like how he used to bowl because of his injury. But Nokia in this World Cup has been very impressive.
Yeah, and the way they've used him, they've not used him in the power play. They've been using him pretty much through the middle overs, and for any bowler to have that kind of impact, you need pace. And his pace has been consistent. He's been right up there. 140 clicks plus is something which he's been bowling. And the conditions also have been helping him, isn't it? Like, the two-pace nature of the pitch brings that natural variation. So you can back yourself as a bowler to consistently bowl seam-up deliveries rather than focusing on the variation. Maybe the Yorkers is something which he goes to in the back end of the innings. But he's looked good. His bowling in the middle overs is definitely going to be very vital in these remaining two matches if South Africa has to make that impact today and then go to the finals.
But do you think the tactic, Michael, is going to be, we know the raw pace that Nokia has, which could trouble the openers, the Afghan openers. And of course, we won't see Rabada coming in the 18th over. I'm sure they'll get him up a little earlier, you think?
Yeah, I mean, they've generally used Nokia in that middle kind of part of the game. I think he's a big play today because, I think this Afghanistan batting unit can be got at. I think if you've got a bit of pace, and he's got probably as much pace as anybody in the world at the minute, I think this Afghanistan team can be targeted with a little bit of pace. So the likes of Rabada, Janssen bowls half decent pace, but not the pace of Nokia. I just think if he can get it right today, and if I guess if South Africa can get 2 or 3 early ones in that power play, and then you can throw the ball to Nokia on around the 7th, 8th over, you can blow a team away with that aggressive nature. I mean, his last couple of games, last 2 or 3 games have not been like he started the tournament. Maybe the pitches in America helped him a little bit more so, but he's been hit also. He is a bowler that, as much as he can get you wickets and cause you a huge amount of success, he can travel around. Anyone with a bit of pace, you only need to get a bit of bat on it, and it flies to all parts. So I'll be interested to see the way that Afghanistan play him. I think the best way to play someone like Nokia is making sure you've got a player or two in when he comes on. If he's starting out to new batters that are just going out there for the first few balls, that pace can surprise any player in the world. So I think it's very important that Afghanistan have set players in when he comes on to bowl.
Well, we're just few minutes away, but Nishant has asked us a very important question on Ask CB. So let's have a look at what Nishant has to say. With Zach and Michael there, I want to ask, who would they prefer their team play in the final, South Africa or Afghanistan? Zach, why don't you go first?
Well, I think the kind of form which South Africa have shown in the tournament, just how they've been falling on the right side of the result, and how, sometimes in a tournament like World Cup, you fear these kind of teams, isn't it? That everything is going their way. So
but the only thing
I said it the other day as well, that, and anyone wouldn't want to play South Africa in the finals right now, just because they've not still played their best cricket.
Yes.
And you don't want to be, facing a team which is yet to play a game which they should be really proud of. Like, that kind of game has not happened. Like, in that dressing room, I don't think so far in the tournament, they've gone and said that, oh, what a tournament we are having. It's always been those nerves. It's always been those tough moments, and somehow finding that win. So I think they're going to be a very difficult team to play in the finals. So yeah, for this thing, I'll say Afghanistan if India has to go to the finals. Yeah.
But that's what Rob Walter said as well. He said that South Africa haven't played their best cricket yet, so it could be the next one. But if they do have to pick up that World Cup, they have to rewrite history because no one has won a T20 World Cup, gone unbeaten into the World Cup. So they've got that stat going their way.
Indicators are suggesting that.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it could be South Africa, India. And neither team have lost yet.
All right, Michael, who would you like to play in the finals?
I think England.
That's if England go through.
When England go through, I think England wouldn't. I think they'd be quite happy. Not happy, but I think Afghanistan would be the team of the two that they'd probably fancy beating more.
Okay.
Just because of the, I don't know, experience, and England are pretty good in knockout stages. South Africa just beaten England just a few days ago. Honestly, it's a toss of a coin. I mean, the way that South Africa bowled down the back end to England, I think England will look at that and think, well, they got a bit of a panic on. But then you look at Afghanistan's bowling attack, and it's the kind of attack that England probably don't like facing. All the different variations, lots of skill sets, mystery spin. So, funnily enough, England might fancy facing South Africa because they know how to hit that kind of attack. But they're both quality teams, so it's a ridiculous question to ask.
All right, Nishant, I hope you've gotten your answer. We've gotten the answer from Zach with complete clarity. Michael, still not very sure, if I can say. No. We'll have a look at the teams just to see and remind you all that they've both gone unchanged. Afghanistan will be batting first. They're playing 11. They've gone unchanged. They'll be hoping that their openers give them what they've been giving them all through the World Cup. Let's quickly have a look at South Africa's playing 11 as well. They've gone unchanged as well, and today they'd want their openers to fire because Heinrich hasn't had the best of the World Cup, so hopefully things will change around for him today. Zach, Michael, looking at the teams, looking at the conditions, looking at Afghanistan batting first, who's the favourite going into the semi-final?
South Africa for sure. I think when you're looking at the two teams, their balance, and also, yes, we do talk about South Africa being finding themselves in tough positions, tough situations in a tournament like World Cup. You know, they've been tagged as chokers. But for Afghanistan also, it's equally a big occasion. And, you know, it will be overwhelming for them at some stage or the other. So I think South Africa will still be favourites in this game.
Yeah, South Africa. I think this is South Africa's day. You know, I've always been amazed with South Africa in terms of cricket because their rugby team, they know how to win World Cups. You know, they've got great mental strength, and you know, maybe they've just had a little bit of bad fortune in the past, and you know, the games that they've won in this World Cup, they've just had a little bit that's gone their way. I think it'll be South Africa's day.
All right, let's see whose day it's going to be answering the joy factor question. Let's have a look at the joy factor question of the day. Which unfortunate cricketing list did Jeffrey Boycott first join, in which Sachin Tendulkar has 3 entries while Rohit Sharma is the last Indian entrant?
Unfortunate cricketing list. So that's I don't know. That's not great, is it? That's something that you don't really want to be a part of. Must be first ball. Don't know, out first ball of the game. Or...
Anyway, we'll do this guessing in the green room. We'll give it another attempt. We have 3 hours. So we'll do the other important guessing game now. Zach, big semi-final.
Yeah.
What's your prediction going to be?
Well, are you in the left side of the table or left side? So we're all left side.
You're all left.
Left.
How can Dooley still be on 40? We haven't been here for about 5 weeks.
Yeah, this game actually best one without playing.
Yeah, GK has changed the rules again. He said that someone who hasn't played more than 5 games doesn't count. So I think we have to get this petition signed. And
so is Dooley out?
I mean, according to GK, he's out.
All right, so he's out. So get rid of Dooley. I'll say 140.
140, all right.
I'm going with 130.
It's a new pitch, so we have no idea what we're expecting there, do we?
Go low ball.
But I want Afghanistan to win, so I should be supporting and rooting for them with Brian Lara. So I'll go 144.
Ooh.
All right.
Could be enough.
Could be enough. Let's wait and watch and see what happens. Today is Dale Stein's birthday. Will South Africa give him the gift that a lot of South Africans want? Or will the sleepy but very hungry Afghanistan team come in and do what they've been doing this World Cup? We'll find out. We'll give you all the updates at the 10-hour point. So do join us there. Michael, let's go have some coffee now.